Who'd you guys come to stab?
Oh, I have a name for you. Dylan was way nice about it. Oh man, it's almost hot.
I've been on a homemade caramel making kick, trying different things.
Yeah.
Go heat that up.
Damn it.
This will work right out, probably. Well, Commissioners, I'm from the record, Dylan Lawrence, your water rights attorney. Carrie.
Carrie Hill, Panorama Environmental Water Consultant.
And we're on the agenda to talk about the Snake River project again. You want to set the stage? Or do we want to talk about something else?
I guess, yeah.
We can talk about what's on the agenda first.
I wanted to revisit the discussion of going for an additional water right. Okay. I brought my computer in case you want to look at the map because we had our GIS folks pull up. They got the county parcel data for this region, and then we overlaid where's groundwater place of use, where's surface water place of use, where are the irrigation districts. So if we want to pull that up, we can. And then on the way here, I got a export that will let us, of all the data that'll let us sort by who are the major landowners, who it is, how much it is, so you could maybe identify some big fish. The whole idea behind it is the 20 CFS, we said, let's go for the irrigation district because we could easily say, hey, can we put this water on your land? One person would agree, right? Same process here, but just we're going to need probably a couple more landowners to talk to. I think the concern was it looking like, you said it, but looking like we're supplementing the farm, we're just helping out the farmers. So I wanted to talk through that a little bit because it's the same concept that we're replacing the groundwater use with surface water. The farmers would pay that same pumping cost. We're going to have to make it equitable for them to join on, that it's not going to cost them any more to pump out of the snake than the ground. And then somehow the cost, the additional cost.
How do you get all those city dwellers to vote for a bond when you know the water's going the opposite direction?
Well,
It's just replacing it, surface for ground.
You can use that fight, but that's not
I
how I
know.
would
Well,
look at it.
and that gets into, ultimately, we've talked about how do we fund anything with a district or something. I still think, I look at it like a fire district that everybody pays into, but maybe you're not specifically using it all the time. It's like some groundwater district, whatever district it is, benefits the whole region, and everybody, that district could pay the difference because it's going to be more expensive to pump from the snake, it sounds like, than the ground. And that difference in cost that everybody in the district pays. I have questions on, it's out of my wheelhouse, Dylan's too, we were kind of talking about it right here. Right now we just talk about the farmers paying and the residents paying. But when industry comes in, and Compass was just in here, I was invited to a meeting to talk about this not-home Ada County corridor and business and industry coming in. Industry will pay a lot more for the water. So right now we're looking at it kind of in this small circle, but eventually it probably will be industry paying into something too. I don't know if impact fees type things or how that works. I don't know how it would work, but it's a regional benefit. We have to go after the big water users who really make a difference. And that's kind of the crux of it. How we educate people, obviously we know an uphill battle, but it's the same concept as using it to the irrigation district. We just need to find some other big fish to continue using so we can replace the use. Does that make sense?
It's called aquifer protection tax. That's what other states have done.
That's what we need, yeah. So that's kind of where my mind goes because it's...
No, it didn't.
Well, but taxing, it's a tax. It has to be a tax, whether it's through a district.
Here's your gold star.
What you got to do though is, because I'm sure Terry's somewhat started on a design, somewhat maybe.
Concepts.
Right. But when if the county was to apply for more water rights, the only thing you got to change is maybe a pump size and bigger pipe. Your alignment's going to be the same.
Yeah.
Right? it needs to go to that recharge pit, not over here anywhere. It's gotta go to that recharge pit first, because that was always the main goal. And I believe you can feed from there to the farmers.
Well, I think the idea is replacing directly during irrigation season and still
But
trying to get
every
it to
year is
eventually.
different.
Yeah,
Every year is
yeah.
different. You might have a year that the irrigation district is gonna carry those farmers, so you're gonna spend all summer
But we're talking
pumping for recharge.
bigger than the irrigation district though. I mean, we have to be, it's bigger than just the Mountain Home Irrigation District. That's where we need to expand it. Those users. Yeah.
Other two observations I'll make that may or may not be helpful. I mean, one is just when you think about the numbers, broadly speaking, right? So we know that like in the 2017 report, it says we have this groundwater deficit of approximately 40,000. We don't know exactly, but that's the best estimate we have at this point. You know, if you add up what the county with its Canyon, Creek recharge that it already has going, the Snake River permit we just got, you add the South Fork into it, you add in Anderson storage, you still don't get all the way to 43,000, even with all of that.
No, you can't.
So the way I look at it is there still has to be some other source to help get all the way up to, or hopefully even beyond 43,000. And so to me, because the easiest place, the lowest hanging fruit is going to be the biggest users of the water, which is agriculture. To try and close that delta more. And then the second thing that just may be worth noting is that right now with the Idaho Water Resource Board, who would likely have a role in funding this, they put a lot of emphasis these days on what they call perfect recharge, which is never taking it out of the ground to begin with, which is replacing it with surface water. So it would be very attractive to them to see a project where rather than water going to a recharge pit and then recharging the aquifer, where the water's not leaving the ground to begin with. So just a couple of points.
And I mean, if you guys wanna go file for another permit, I'm fine with that. Cause you're not gonna get it
It's
for
not gonna
7 years.
Well, I'm just worried. Well, I'm not kidding. The way Becky talked, I was like, oh my God, we need to do this yesterday.
You're right over there.
Bless you.
The way he talked, someone's gonna apply for these and use this same concept, use that trust water, and there's only so much of it. So that's my
Do it.
concern.
Do it.
But identifying it, who we need to talk to.
I can help with that.
I figured. So I have the list of people, I have the exact acres, and so
What
then-
really needs to happen is the irrigation district needs to be owned by the county. That's what really needs to happen.
That is outside of the scope of what we're talking about right now, but you
No, it ain't.
you
It's right
guys,
in the middle of it.
you go
All
talk to
of
them
it.
about that, because they are not interested in that.
Who's they?
Well, I don't think the irrigation district is interested,
They know you.
I brought it up to them, they know.
I know. I don't think Eric was like, yeah, let's do it.
So excited. Are you alright over there?
But we can still get at the same goal, regardless. But the list, and we can look at how many acres, because I think we need a number from Terry, like, what do we go for? One time he threw like 70 CFS. Is that the number? How many acres we want to target? But if we could get something like 70, that deficit almost comes back to zero, right? And then
Have it at 0.
by the time, hopefully we can get the South Fork stuff going, and then that is almost bringing you back up. So then you can support the growth, and support industry. And my, shiny rainbows version is that then industry starts to pay for it, and pay for the South Fork stuff, and pay for the pumping costs. Some shiny rainbows down the road, hopefully. But the snake gets us faster than the South Fork. And if we don't go for it, it's done. I just don't want to look back and be like, someone will be like, why didn't you go for it?
I think we have to.
So, Carrie, let's speed this up a little bit. So what's the next step outside?
Take the list, the export that I got from all the land use data. We get from Terry, how many CFS do we need to go for? How many acres do we need to apply that to over the summer? And then it all gets wrapped into that alternatives report to get what you're doing. Like, can we get it to the recharge pit and to the farmers, and how does it work, existing, whatever. But we need to get the agreements with these folks to say, can we apply for a water right and put the water in your land, right? That's
Yeah,
basically it.
I mean, this is what I was going to ask, isn't the next step reaching out to some of these, because, what made it easy to file the application for the Snake River permit the county has now is that all we had to do was get Mountain Home Irrigation District to say, yes, you can use our system on your application. So we need to find, other people who will say the same thing.
So I think it warrants a list of names. It warrants an amount from Terry Scanlon in some sort of deduction as to how he came to that amount.
Yeah, rationale.
And then let's sit back down next week or whenever and say, okay, here's what we got, here's what we'd like to do.
Okay. And I'm assuming we come up with these people, and then you and Eric can help facilitate coordinating,
All this can.
right? We get agreements, and we apply for a water right. Just kind of the idea, right? And then we wait 7 years. Hopefully not, maybe.
But we're in line.
But we're first in line, first in rank. So that's the game we're playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everything outside of the border is going to file a protest.
That's okay.
That's okay, but we're first in line.
Yeah. We'll deal with that in 6 years. So,
Well, actually, the protests for the Snake River application were resolved within the first couple of years. It was the Department of Water Resources that took a long time to do anything on that.
with Dr. Nudging.
Yeah.
But there'll be more this time.
Probably,
Well, especially since we got the first one.
Whenever you come back for another bite on the apple.
Jealous.
Well, and I mean, I think, but, yeah. A lot has changed since 2017.
True. Okay.
Okay.
We want to talk about the elephant in the room?
Talk about
Not
who?
you.
Talk about
Or
who?
you.
Who?
The elephant in the room.
The elephant in the room. Your
I-
bottle?
I can't even, I can't even believe it. And I don't know if you guys know, but we got this today as well.
That was from you.
I used the term elephant in the room the last messenger Charlotte ever did in the county, which we don't talk about, because I was like 8 months pregnant. I wasn't supposed to be able to, just so you're not distracted. Yes, I'm pregnant. It's a boy.
Sure. That's right.
So Dylan, you sent, I'm assuming you sent an email to those 2 attorneys, right?
Yes.
The city's attorneys.
The city attorneys. I'm just wondering why, shouldn't we send an email to Water Resources saying
So
this other thing
We
that was
know-
sent to you is,
right, yeah, so we got on the video call yesterday, so it was me, Carrie, David Lehman, who's our government relations guy, Natalie Pugworski, and Ashley Squires, who are sort of public outreach folks. And I mean, so we started talking about the next steps, so the first was, okay, city, stop this, this is not accurate. So we've
well,
had
you
that.
didn't, but you only sent it to 2 guys, not the guy that wrote it.
Well, I can only send it to attorneys now.
I know
I
that.
can't send it to anybody else. And so,
But
I mean,
wait.
go ahead.
Sorry, before, because I don't want to lose my train of thought. Before, we requested it be sent to the city council, correct? We
wanted
can
to
do
see
that?
what the council members are aware of what's going on here.
I mean, if those attorneys aren't sharing that with their client, the city council, then they are violating their ethical duties. I mean, I have no control over what they do with the letter after they get it.
Well, and you
I just
don't
wanna
want to
make
be
sure.
contacting their clients,
Exactly.
No,
not who.
like sometimes
but-
they do to us.
We don't know if his letter made it to Water Resources.
Right.
Yeah.
So
That's where you need to find out, if anything actually touched down over there.
Right.
How
Yeah.
do you do that?
Well, that's what
Talked about
David is working on.
Oh,
He's
okay, yeah.
working on contacting the legislators individually and saying, look, what was in that letter isn't exactly true, and we would like to get you in a room so we can talk about
Can I
water.
clarify that?
Yes.
You said it wasn't exactly true. It was all a lie. Let's just be very clear. I mean, that's,
Right.
thank you for being kind or gentle.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it was all live, but the part about us was.
What else is in
Well, I don't know.
Well,
There's stuff
there's
up
not
there.
even a grant program like that. That's not even a grant,
It's
real
all-
grant program. The
Well, I
only
talked to
thing-
Zito last night, and she said, what is it you want me to do? And I said, well, you need to respond. You can't just not. I mean, you have to send a letter back to the guy that wrote it and tell him why you're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's great that they're in support of what wastewater treatment plant.
We
but-
support the city,
Yeah.
and whatever they wanna, we'll support it.
Yeah, that's great. And I thought, great, because this actually shows that we could maybe get some involvement for the real stuff we're doing from the legislative body. But when we talked through contacting water resources, it probably just lands in the inbox of whoever their legislative communicator is, because it doesn't say like it went to anybody specific. We think
I
that.
just wanna make sure that something didn't land over there and somebody,
Yeah,
Mountain Home and the commissioners all got back together.
yeah.
I just don't want
I think
the
they'll
lie to
see it.
continue.
They'll see the name of the grant program first off and be like, right off the bat, it's like it doesn't even exist. We also think our communication with the Water Resource Board contacts is enough, and they understand the story and the background enough. It seemed like Natalie basically said, you're probably stepping into making it more of a drama than it is. It probably just died at their desk when someone looking at it go, this doesn't make sense, rather than make contact with them, say, get involved. She recommended we don't worry about water resources right now, right? Is that how you took it?
Well, I think the legislators were the priority,
They were
because
like, yeah.
that contact was more direct, and we were right now in the middle of trying to get these new legislators educated on water, and then this happened. So, that was the immediate next step. Was David was to start contacting the legislators individually, and then we were sort of what to do about the Department of Water Resources was going to be sort of what we talked about early next week.
Well, and I own a daycare, so the tattling and all that is aggravating to go back and forth. But
Yeah.
I mean, is it reasonable to request a rescinding of this information by the author of the letter?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean,
Well-
I mean, our
Let me just add on to that. If some entity, should read this and say, oh, I didn't know all of this, and award a large dollar amount, not knowing the true facts, it just seems that's
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a letter from us saying, hey, this is, you know what I mean? I just seems like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it
That's
adds to
what
the
Natalie
drama.
was getting at.
Right.
Either asking for a retraction or some form of correction.
On their end, they're the
From
ones with the
their
incorrect,
end,
he's the one with the
We should probably
incorrect
pick
information.
a real grant program to start with.
That'd be
say that again.
He should pick a real grant program. This isn't a grant like what he lists is the water sustainability list
Grant
that
program.
the county's South Fork project is on, and that we've morphed into this 3-phase project. It's a regional water sustainability list that the Water Resource Board has, not the department, and there's no grant funding associated with it. So that right there, that's why we're responding to Water Resource. They're gonna look at it and go, what?
Well, yeah, and
Yeah.
I just don't want to get caught up with this ignorance.
Yeah.
I mean, a coordinated effort after you gave a letter to Water Resource saying that you don't need the water for the city of Mountain Home, and then all of a sudden there's a coordinated effort when you already pissed on it,
David's
pun
gonna,
intended with the water.
David is using it as an opening to talk to all the legislators about what we've got going on, so, I mean,
So Dylan, what would be the correct way to it just would seem
What's
wrong to have
effective?
this letter left undone with the untruths that are in it.
So you want to know, like, okay, now that
What's
we've
the most
sent that to the
effective?
letter, what is your specific goal that you're asking?
Well, nobody responded back, did they?
No.
I
Not
mean,
yet.
the damage, if we just talked about the damage that these kind of false letters can cause.
Wait, my letter's not false. Why are you hanging mine up?
No, no, no. I'm talking about, I'm sorry. No, I'm talking about.
He's as sensitive as we
The
are.
letter from Mayor Sykes and the lies that are in it. If we just back up a few months ago and look at the letter sent to Idaho Department of Water Resources, which excluded the city of Mountain Home as a whole
For
from
his
this water
request.
right.
For his request.
At his request,
The
and
mayor.
now we have it coming out again at his request. The damage that he's doing is just, it's just hard to understand.
Yeah.
I gotta back up 1 second, because you said you have not got a response from either attorney. I
Correct.
just wanted to clarify, okay.
But, I mean, this only went out on Wednesday, right? So it's,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
This is still early in the process where we are right
Then
now.
why am I so angry?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we still clearly there's going to be more to be done. We're just
Yeah.
take steps, and Carrie and I have some sense for some of this stuff, but we're not the the public
nobody-
relations
okay.
and government experts.
You
So
wanna
we do
take
want to
steps.
lean on David and
So
Natalie.
by next Wednesday, nobody responds to your email, what's your thought?
In a week response is reasonable, correct? Or
Well, I mean,
in the
honestly,
attorney world?
Wouldn't you say, well, you guys,
Why'd you bleep yourself?
that guy's got a camera.
I was supposed to bleep
Well,
this.
wouldn't you?
I mean, if they want to respond,
That's
great,
kind of
but it's
like
not
what I did with Zito last night.
Yeah.
When I called her, I said, what are you gonna do about it? Nothing. And I said, is that the right way to respond? Nothing?
Yeah.
I don't think so. And after a little bit, she agreed with me. She said, you're right, I need to respond. And I said, yeah, you do.
Please
Yeah.
do.
And that's what that letter is. And she called it out. Supposedly, that's her response
So-
to them.
Did she send this to the board, the water resource department? Who did this?
I think it's.
I believe
I
it
think
went
it's
to
gonna
the
go back
mayor.
to him.
I believe it went to the
That's the
mayor.
way I read it, but, so back to Al's question, is a week reasonable time for a response, and if not, then next steps?
Well, so my letter to them, I mean, didn't request any particular response. I mean, I'd be fine if they didn't respond at all.
No, that's unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable.
So what do you think? What do you want to see from a response?
Well, I think there needs to
Boxing
be some
gloves.
sort of a retraction.
Okay. Yeah.
Or a request for a retractor, we can't make him do anything,
Yeah.
but I think that,
If you
it's
look at the
muddy the waters.
damages being done, the damage is being done by these kinds of things going out that are untrue.
Well, you don't
Especially
like
with
it
all our
when
water
you leave
efforts.
somebody a voicemail and they just ghost you.
Yeah. We should get David and Natalie in here so that Carrie and I are not the go-between. I think these are conversations you should be having with them directly. Because like this type of stuff is not my expertise.
That's
It's
why we
really
got him
not.
on. We got him on the call right away to say, what do we say, what do we not say, who do we talk to?
well, I almost created a meme.
Well, only thing I'm
With
saying
AI.
is that you took your
Wouldn't
time
be good, Carrie, I'm just saying.
and you went to Paul and you went to Schroeder and you sent them this email. You took the time to do this, right?
Yeah.
Which we appreciate.
And if they don't respond at all, you're just happy, you don't care.
Well, it depends.
No, seriously.
No, I think we're talking about two different things when we
No,
say
we're not.
response.
And when nobody responds, you don't care.
That letter didn't. I didn't request any particular response. I said, make sure this doesn't happen anymore. Now, if you want to try and extract some sort of a
Well,
retraction,
at least they would type back.
then let's get
Got
David
it.
and Natalie in here and we'll talk about how to get
Okay.
that done.
Yeah.
I would,
They're gonna take their
I would-
time to
I would
decide
like-
how-
I don't expect them to
Dylan.
respond, but I
Dylan, I
don't
would
like
like
to hear that, I don't care.
Well, I don't think that's what.
because I think us responding, I mean, I don't know if there is not a rescinding of the bogus information that's in the damn thing, but if there isn't, then we have to, I mean, I think we may have to respond, which I don't necessarily like that avenue, but
We need to have another meeting. We need to get those folks here.
Yeah,
We need to have a meeting. We'll get Francine to get us on the agenda next week. But there has to be follow-up. There has to be something that comes out of this.
Okay. Yep. I just just found out about it Wednesday, so,
Might be
you know,
good
I think we've accomplished a fair amount.
It'll
in
shake
2
through.
days.
We'll see what happens next week, and then they'll guide the response based on. Kind of like the idea.
So
of
you'll
rescinding of it,
you'll
'cause it's
organize
admitting that you're wrong.
with Francine this meeting, please, Bill.
Yeah,
And if he doesn't, then there may have to be some drastic action and measures.
100%.
Because it can't just be spelled wrong. I mean,
If this had happened
I
at a
can't
later
believe-
point in time, this is what, if it had happened when we were in the middle of, well, we kind of are in the middle, but closer to asking the finance committee for funding, if he had sent it to the water resource board instead of the department, I mean, there's a few minor things that could have really toppled this house of cards that we've slowly been building our credibility on this water stuff, right? We have all the momentum going. So,
Called damage is done.
potentially, it could. And that's a huge problem because it's been a lot of effort to get where we're at.
yeah.
And, you know, kind of got sideswiped before with the previous letter and then this one saying the exact opposite. I mean, it's high.
pretty unbelievable. At the end of the day, I think we're all on the same page.
I can't.
Trying to turn it into like positives that
I'm sorry.
the legislative representatives using as an opening, that was one specific thing that we needed to get the legislators on board and show the finance committee that, you know, we have this broad support and the legislative body's on board. So he's turning it into an opportunity to start that conversation, which is great. I just wish it was in a better, you know, our terms instead of saying that way. But do the best we can with what we got now.
Now, the confusion.
Yeah, I mean, it just
If
makes
somebody
it,
were just to read that, they'd be like, oh wait.
Well, I think, I told about this, I think it was written by AI, because if you don't really know much about anything, it sounds legit. Like, that's why that legislator wrote right back, oh sure, and he just re-spouted what was in that letter. But it's not a real grant program. There is no communication with the district or the county. Like, there's so many things in there, and the wastewater land application is not going to help the for
and
this.
in fact, I'm sorry to interrupt, but as I recall, the Water Resource Board specifically added into its funding criteria for that very program you mentioned that this program is not to be used for water quality projects that are typically funded by DEQ, and that's precisely what it's about, is a lagoon project. It makes this area in general look like we don't know what the hell we're talking about,
Yeah.
and it's really embarrassing.
Mind you, if the city was working on something and they needed our support, or, you know, that can happen, obviously. They're part of the county, but, I mean, this is not huge. And so.
Well, it's even worse when this letter comes up and you get a phone call, which I did, saying, wow, what do you think about all that? And your only answer is, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
Well, it says right here that you, I said, I have no clue what you're talking
yeah.
about. Not a clue. You know, you just don't like to feel that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, yeah.
Well, let's just work it next week.
Yeah. No, we got a minute. Sorry, I don't have more answers for you, but I've
Nope.
done
And
what I can do in a relatively short amount of
No.
time.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
well.
awesome. I mean, you know what I mean? The response was,
Yeah, very well written.
yeah, and I think
Spot on.
perfect. Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, well, good, glad. I mean,
without explicit.
obviously, I don't want to make things worse between the county and the city, and I don't want to contribute to it, but I just, when I read that thing, and I'm normally
I can't
pretty
believe-
even-mannered, you know, even-keeled, I just could not believe what I was reading. I literally couldn't.
It was almost like an April Fool's joke.
Were you okay with it?
You missed a good time. When you called it that thing that you were reading,
Yeah.
you missed some other choice words
Oh, okay.
earlier. Was I okay with the email that you sent to Shorter and Fitzer?
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. One of the things you discussed was talking about next steps and how we have to push back immediately, which you did, and then can talk about whether or not we're going to do other types of pushing that are more forceful once you guys had a chance to discuss it together. But I was absolutely okay with it. That is all factual.
Well, I feel there needs to be accountability for actions, I'm sorry, but you can't let the guy get away with it. I mean,
No, there's a level of misinformation there that if people don't understand that it's misinformation is really dangerous and could damage Elmore County. So we also talked about things like the potential for tort suits, but we have to have some sort of damages, whether it's financial, reputational, whether they don't get some sort of a right or a grant award or something because of the misinformation.
I told you,
I
I
can
now
edit
need
it.
counseling.
I can edit it for myself also. So
And
we
that's
talked
just
about
good.
taking a measured approach, but a very consistent and forward approach, because that's obviously.
Better not hurt our chances with the finance committee and getting those
I was be so mad.
I can't even.
Thank you very much.
I don't even want to think about that. I'm so furious.
Yeah, not good.
Okay. Sorry.
Sad.
Sorry if yes, I apologize for that. Super frustrating to see that.
Yes, agreed.
I'm glad you're as frustrated as me. I mean, I'm not glad that you're frustrated.
Yeah, right. No,
I
no.
read
She's glad you care.
Yeah.
I think is
Do we
what
have
she
anything
means.
else on our agenda?
No, we got everything? Francine? She's my
Make a
checks
motion
about.
to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Dawn. Okay.
There's everybody.
Good, how are you?
All right. Carrie, you're muted. Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you.
How you feeling?
I've had better days, so I'm gonna stay off camera, because no one wants to see this.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, so it looks like we have everyone on the line here. And again, for the record, I'm Dylan Lawrence. I'm the county's external water right counsel. Why don't we just let everybody, and you guys don't know if you're counterclockwise or clockwise. We'll start with David and go down. David, why don't you just quickly introduce yourself?
I'm David Lehman. I'm the government affairs person for that works for Elmore County on water issues.
And Natalie, you're next.
Yeah, I'm Natalie Podgorski, and I help with communication and stakeholder engagement around all things water in the county.
Perfect. Ashley, you're at 6 o'clock.
I am Ashley Squires, and I work with the fabulous Natalie.
And Carrie.
Carrie Hill with Panorama Environmental, water consultant for the county.
All right, great. Well, thanks everybody. And again, the context here is we're following up on the meeting we had last Friday about responding to the letters that Mayor Sykes sent to legislators and perhaps people at IDWR and the Water Resource Board. And by way of a quick update, I have no other updates from my end in terms of any responses from the city's attorneys to the letter that I wrote.
No responses.
Correct. And so the team that we have assembled here today, we met on Wednesday and talked about, okay, you know, Carrie and I recapped everything for them and the meeting that we all had on Friday. And so we talked individually about, okay, what are some, because again, my letter went out like literally within 48 hours of, you know, or no, actually my letter went out within 24 hours of me being aware. And then when we met on Friday, that was just within a couple days.
So you sent that letter to the city's attorneys on Wednesday?
Right, yes. So we, as a team, we talked on this past Wednesday about, okay, you know, responding, okay, what should be next steps when it comes to the three legislators, the city itself, and, you know, IDWR/Idaho Water Resources Board. And so I think it probably makes sense for me to turn it over to David, since this is.
So the one senator and the one representative did respond, but I don't know who they sent it to.
Oh, right, yes, yeah. So you're talking about the memo that Zito sent?
Yes.
Yes. And I've shared that with them, and you're right, I don't know to who that went either.
Just said to whom it's,
Yeah.
whoever's concerned, whatever, I don't know.
Right.
But I don't know if it went anywhere.
Right. So that's where we are. David, do you want to take over from there?
Yeah, I had a chance to talk with Christy Zito and with Faye over this last week, and I think what they put in their letter, and I guess I didn't ask them who they sent it to, so I can follow up with them they're at a conference together this week in Dallas. So I can send a text to Christie or to Faye and ask who the letter went to. But both of them had kind of the same response that was in their letter, and that was they want to be supportive of the projects that the city is proposing, but they thought it was entirely inappropriate for the city to portray the project as a joint project between the county, the city, and the irrigation district. So I think, and then I've exchanged text with Representative Beiswinger, and we are meeting next Wednesday to kind of go over this. And I think also just to give him a much broader overview of what the water priorities are for Elmore County going into this legislative session. But I think all of them have had the same response, and that was they want to help. They certainly don't want to be used in any inappropriate way by the city in supporting a project that is not a joint project from the city, county, and irrigation district. And so what I asked of both Faye and Christie for next week is that we can get together, and I'm not sure if it'll be in person or through a Zoom meeting, but to go into more detail about what the county's priorities are for water, and then also for this legislative session. So it's been a little bit of a catalyst for us to have something to talk with them directly about, and I think that's not fortunate, but I think it has given us something for them to engage on, and I think we'll have a better conversation with them going into the session and talking about our priorities. So in terms of the response, I'll follow up with Christian to see who that letter went to. I'm assuming it went to the Department of Water Resources, but it may not have. It may have just been a letter that was sent back to the commission and to the city council. So I'll find out who specifically the letter was sent to, and then we can adjust from there. But I also do think, I think what we've talked a little bit about is the need to reach out to the Department of Water Resources as well, and I think it's appropriate. I think one of the things that Dylan and I talked about yesterday was, I think anyone who gets that letter is going to understand that it was sent to the wrong people. They may not understand that that the letter was inappropriately positioned as a joint project, and so I do think that requires some clarification, and I also think it gives us a little bit of a trigger into the other things that we want to work on this session, particularly as it relates to potential legislation around the Anderson Dam issue that we're working on. So I want to use this as a way to both provide clarification to the department and also use it as an opportunity to talk about what our expectations are. Our frustration with the decision by the hearing officer, and then two, our proposal for legislation to resolve our frustration with the decision of the hearing officer. So I think there's a couple things that you can use the meeting for, and one of them is to clarify that letter was sent without the commission's knowledge and was inappropriate in identifying Elmore County as a partner in the project proposed by the city.
Yeah, the letter that Christie and that Thompson, whatever her name was.
Clay Thompson,
Christie had a conversation with Commissioner Corbus And then later on, I called Christie and asked her what she was gonna do about it. She wasn't gonna do anything. And I said, so, I don't think that's correct. I don't think, just because you disagreed with the mayor's letter doesn't mean you don't have to respond to it. You should let him know why you're not gonna support his letter. And so that, what they drafted up is the reply to that, but I don't know where it went.
Well, and my understanding was that this Ben Singer, or however you say his name, I'm not sure if that is correct,
By Swinger.
By Swinger, he did.
By Swinger, yep.
He did, yeah, that sounds odd, doesn't it? He did respond.
He said his water resource.
Yeah, he did respond, I was told. And that's where it starts to scare you a little bit, because if in fact he has done that, I mean, here is Idaho Department of Water Resources reviewing a letter that says, you know, hey, this is a teamwork here, and you know, so I'm just not sure how you resolve that.
Well, I think one, my instinct, Representative Beiswinger, this is his first term. My instinct tells me that he thought he was being helpful, but didn't do any due diligence, and I think that's the one of the challenges that we have here. And you know, he's from Horseshoe Bend. Representative Thompson's from McCall, and you know, in my conversations with Faye, one of the things that she said is, you know, I really want to talk to you guys. I want to learn more about it, and I want to do it at the same time you're talking to Christie. So she is wants to make sure that any of the conversations that that we're a part of also include Christie, because I think she wants to make sure that they're in lockstep on what they're hearing, and then their ability to respond. I think it's probably reasonable, given that Senator Zito has been an elected official in that area for a very long time, and probably has a little better knowledge of what's happening in Elmore County. But I do think it probably is obvious that both Faye and Rob are not experts on the water issues that face Elmore County and their constituents there, and so they have a learning curve that we can help them meet in the next leading into the session. But I do think that, as we discussed, whatever projects that we have moving forward that need their support, I feel like they're going to be, they can be an asset as long as they have the right information. And I think they left before they learned on this mountain, the city issue, on the city request. And I think this is a good lesson for them to do their due diligence before sending letters to anybody in support of projects that may or may not exist.
Okay.
I also think, if I can add on to that, Commissioners, I think what sets your team apart is that you guys have consistently been working with the Idaho Department of Water Resources. So they not only know all of you, but they know the projects that Elmore County is involved in. So I think because of all of the hard work you've done and the relationships you've built, I think when people are reaching out with them, you've established a relationship in the county's projects that it's going to strike all of them as, huh? And because of the work you've done, they're going to reach out to you. They're not just going to assume because they've heard something from someone else that they're speaking to you, in support of you, on behalf of you. You've done the legwork, that you have relationships within that organization, that people are going to come and ask you questions. And we've also talked about Dylan and Carrie just going and kind of using this as just another opportunity to touch base and make sure there are no misconceptions left out there with anyone inside the agency.
So how does that happen, Natalie?
So, I do not want to put words in Dylan and Carrie's mouth, so I will say a little bit and then I will stop talking and turn it over to them. But because they just have so many key points there, I believe Dylan and Carrie were just going to reach out and use this as an opportunity to set up a meeting to kind of brief them on some updates and things that are going on. And then in that meeting, using this as one of the points to just say, hey, if you got this letter, we just want to clear the air. Dylan?
That's exactly right. I mean, what I envision is one of us, whether it's me, David, or Carrie, I mean, reaching out to Cynthia with the Water Resource Board and saying, hey, we think it's time to meet again on water stuff related to Elmore County, and then in the course of that, address this and try and find out how far did this thing even make it within the agency, because we just don't know that yet. And respond appropriately. I mean, if it made it to the director, then that's, we respond in one way. If nobody's seen it, then maybe it just dies there. But kind of got to take it one step at a time, and the next step is find out, okay, where did this land? Because we just don't know. Does that sound right, David?
Yeah, I think so, and I think it's an opportunity, as we, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to propose legislation to right a wrong with their process around Anderson Dam and a decision that their hearing officer made, and so I think it's fair. We can have the conversation. Listen, we understand this letter landed on your desk, possibly. We don't know if it made it past the inbox or if it just went to the trash, because it's not a letter that would be appropriately sent to the Department of Water Resources. So I think it's important for us to have that conversation. But more importantly, I want to talk to them about our frustration and concerns over the process that they've undertaken around the permitting for Anderson Dam, and how we feel excluded from I think appropriate consideration for our request. So I think it's an opportunity to kind of address two issues at once, but the more important of the two in my mind is putting them on notice that we're unhappy with their decision, or the hearing officer's decision, and we have a remedy. The remedy is to run legislation to force them to do what they should have done. The alternative is that the director has that ability, and they can go back and make a better decision. So I think my goal in that meeting would be to address both of the issues. I think the first one on the letter is the more easily dispensed with, because I think it's going to be viewed as inappropriate by whoever received the letter at IDWR, and then it gives us an opportunity as well to talk about the other potentially more important issues leading into this legislative session.
Okay. Ashley?
I'm just here to provide support and wholeheartedly agree with what David and Natalie have advised for the next steps.
Okay, no, we understand. So I do know we have some city council folks sitting here in our audience, and I just want to make sure that they are aware of what happened, what the letter was about. I have found out that the city council is not aware of the letter our attorney sent to the city, or that's what I was told. I'm really frustrated, and Dylan, can you tell me how a letter like this does not go to the city leadership? How do they not see what's going on inside the city?
I mean, I don't really, I wish I had an answer for you. I mean, so the way that the ethical rules work with attorneys is that we are supposed to, well, two rules. As we've talked about many times, as an attorney, I can't contact city folks directly, especially on something kind of contentious like this. I can only communicate with their counsel, right? And then the other rule is that attorneys are supposed to keep their clients, reasonably up to date. If I received a letter like this, on behalf of me representing the county, I would pretty quickly forward it to you guys and say, hey, you guys should be aware of this, because I would feel like my ethical duties require me to do that, aside from the fact that it's, related to my representation of the county. So why their attorneys, if they really haven't forwarded it on to anybody at city leadership, I can't answer it. That's not what I would do.
Ditto. I agree.
I'd find a new attorney real quick.
Well, and, we had the privilege of talking to Abigail Germain, another attorney that we use here, and there were some other emails that were sent to their attorneys that I don't think that the body that governs the city is aware of regarding impact fees. How do you change this? Is there an avenue that the county and the city leadership can communicate in a different way? And Natalie, Ashley, and David, and Carrie, last week, we're kind of relying on you folks to help us come up with a way to communicate just a little bit better, because obviously we're failing here somewhere.
We're not.
No, I know, but we're still not getting it done. It's still not getting. We can't cross the bridge. You know what I'm saying? We can't get the information to them, and there's got to be a way to.
Well, our attorney he just told you can't contact them, right?
Right. Yeah. Well,
So
that's
he has
why.
to go through their attorney, and if their attorney is the brick wall, that's for them to solve. And that's that.
And Councilman Harjo, I think I had a copy. I mean, he had a copy of the letter when we were here last week. I mean, I think he obtained a copy just from being here organically. So, but it shouldn't have to come to that, right? I mean,
Well, yeah,
If they're hiding stuff from each other, that's a problem too.
I just wish we could change those dynamics, and that's why, if there's something on the county side, I don't know if it's going to take the city leadership, mayor and council members and the commissioners to sit down at a table to where we can tell each other face to face what's going on. If that's what it takes, maybe that's the avenue we're going to have to pursue, because the communication via emails is dead. It does not happen.
all right. Well, we did touch on this a little bit. Go ahead.
I would offer real quickly that, my ethical obligations are different than Dylan's. And so I'm happy to communicate directly with the city council members and to make sure information that's critical that needs to get from the county to the city is delivered directly. That's something I'm very comfortable doing on behalf of the county. And I understand, Dylan has different ethical obligations than I do.
He let us know that
in
last
terms
week.
of how we communicate, and I'm happy to be that conduit.
Carrie?
Yeah, I attend those military affair committee meetings, which kind of is a great opportunity for connections, but there's so much moving with water. I've talked to Dale King, the new economic development person with the city, and we'd love to have kind of roundtables. Maybe it's every other month or so, and city council could be represented, but there's just a lot moving. Water's at the base of every part of it. I think there's avenues of communication to have these roundtable meetings, and what's the city got going on, what's the county got going on, how can we work together? These communication lines could open up outside of attorneys.
Well, all I can tell you is it's down here, it's an open book. What happens over there, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, it's just tough when you have a county and a city that all have issues, all have problems, we're all trying to move forward, but we can't communicate. That makes it tough. That makes it really tough.
Well, and I mean, a big part a couple of years ago when we started adding folks to these teams is because they have skill sets and abilities that I don't have as an attorney. And I think what's happening is we're starting to realize, there's some things that do make sense to happen in court and administrative proceedings. proceedings, but it's really good to have people who can do some of this. It's one tool in the toolbox is what I'm trying to say, and I think we've added a lot of good tools in the past couple of years.
Sure. Jenny, Becky, any comments? Anything you guys want to?
Nothing that you want on record.
Fair enough.
You know, I appreciate, I obviously have 1 month left. It doesn't mean I don't care and I'm going to stop caring, but it's very, very frustrating from the city's perspective. I also want to speak for myself, but finding things out on the street is the MO of the city of Mountain Home, and it's very, very frustrating, and that's exactly how we found out about Dylan's letter. I think a roundtable with the city is a great idea. I think strategically, the people need to be chosen, and it may not be the higher above leadership, maybe you guys and the mayor, but there's people in the city that can communicate with this team and should.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
I said multiple times to the county, email us directly.
Yeah.
If you can, if there's not a legal stipulation to that, email us directly, because by me finding out last night through you, bud, not cool.
I agree. That's not the way things are supposed to work. And we sat here last Friday and we asked our team to see to it, you know, that they done everything in their power possible for you. We said we want all members of city government to see these documents. Well, it didn't happen, and we said that. And it's just there's a roadblock, and it just we can't get past it.
Whether one of them walk out here with it.
Whether it's dispatch agreement, whether it's impact fees, whether it's the water use, whether it's the landfill, whether it's the sewer lagoons. I mean, it's dead. We've got to fix it somehow. There's got to be an answer to change the dynamics of what we do. The most important thing in the world is for you folks to have a sewer lagoons and water for the future. You know, well, yeah. How do you help that?
Have my thoughts.
Well, I guess then, Dylan, from what I understand, and from our team up here, great job, folks. You know, we just got to keep trying to move forward, and let's get a hold of whoever we can to, you know, make sure that there's no damage done. That was, you know, similar to the water letter that went out of the Department of Water Resources, which stopped the city of Mountain Home from being on the water right. Let's do anything that we can to stop some of that stuff.
Yeah, we just wanted to sort of share the approach overall and what we've been talking about to make sure it sounded good and you're comfortable with it. But yes, we will proceed.
Can I add one more? The famous last word for my end. I think one of the things that's so great, even about today, is communication. I think so often we forget it's between people. And so I think the fact that today that you have Mountain Home City Council members that are attending this meeting, that shows that there is progress and there is this chance that the future can look different than it has in the past. Because ultimately it's about individuals deciding, like, we recognize that we've had challenges sharing information and we want to do better and we want to be in the loop. And so I think so often, and it is really important, that's why you have us, we're here to help with the formal process and we're here to help put some structure around it. I think this notion of setting some regular meetings, I think that's a great step because it gets people in the room where they can see each other's face and have these conversations. But I also would encourage all of us as individuals to leverage our own personal relationships and take somebody out to coffee, attend a meeting, pick up the phone, which it sounds like you're already doing, but those direct communication, I think just will start to also help people be in the loop more and realize that if you have a question, that you have a friendly face with the other entity that you can reach out to.
Yeah, no, I definitely, we hear you, Natalie, and yeah, we tried very, very hard. We tried very hard
Absolutely, and I think though that the hard work, to me, there is progress. Like, even if it's incremental and even if it doesn't feel that way, I think that there is growth. There is, I think, the hope that things can be different. And I think you have us on the back end. We'll put together some, a more structured approach. But I just really am so grateful that city council members are showing up and listening to these meetings.
Perfect. Well, so then, just so I can recap what I'm hearing, you folks, Dylan, are going to work on somehow trying to get the communications finished up on where this is all going.
Right, yeah, I mean, so I think the recap is, David's got meetings with the legislators in the works, and then he and Carrie and I will also huddle up on the best way to follow up with the IDWR/Water Resource Board angle of it to both, find out where it landed, do needed damage control if necessary, and then use that as the entree to talk about the Anderson Ranch stuff too.
Okay.
Does that sound right, David?
This is
Yes.
part of the question that I asked you last week, Dylan, was anybody going to respond to your email? Not only didn't respond, but they didn't do their job.
Right. Yeah, no response so far.
That's just what I figured.
And is that, David and Natalie, is that just something that you just kind of just sweep under the rug, no response, all good, just leave it alone?
Well,
I'm going to put you guys in the hot seat because it doesn't look right, it's wrong.
I think that the reality is what we need to do is make sure that there is no impact of the letter with decision makers at IDWR. I think we have for the most part, and I'll make sure by next Wednesday that we fully resolve the issue of the legislators understanding the letter was sent without our knowledge or consent. But I think the most important thing is that we need to have a laser focus on the Department of Water Resources and the staff there to make sure that they're fully briefed and understand what that letter was sent without communication with the county, and it should be disregarded because of it. And so, to me, I'm less worried about the city responding to your letter. It sounds to me like you have members of the city council who are there and want to engage, and like Natalie said, the progress we make from here is more important than the lack of progress over the last several months. So I think the focus is on making sure we get what we want going forward, and I think having that partnership with city council members is going to be important. And I do think there is something to be said for the people who are elected engaging with one another and not relying on staff to handle the communications. It's unfortunate, I think, that there has been no response, and quite frankly, I think there should be one, but I don't think it's the most critical thing in our conversation right now. I think the most critical thing is getting the mess cleaned up, if there is one, with water resources, and then engaging in that conversation that you all just discussed with the city council, independently of communications between the lawyers.
Commissioners, this is Carrie. How would you guys feel about me pushing forward on getting a roundtable together?
Well,
I know.
yeah, a great question, Carrie. I will tell you that we'll do anything in our power possible to make things better but we just can't get past, I mean, you know, it's nonstop, it never ends. And you of all people should know how difficult, after all the meetings that you had, it is to just try to get some communication there. I don't know, I'm just kind of at a loss right now at where to go, and you know, I don't think it's right that there's zero response. Yeah, I don't think that's fair to anyone. But yeah, I don't have a.
You guys have copies of that, right? Dylan's letter?
I got it last night.
We got it finally
That's,
last night.
you need to ask your two attorneys why they hid that from you.
I started that ball rolling.
Huh?
I said I've started that ball rolling. It's
Yeah, I mean,
frustrating.
they work for you guys, and
It's very
so
frustrating.
if they're not doing what you need them to do, that's your decisions, so.
And what can we do to help? Is there, I mean, do you guys have any other ideas? Anything we can do to help change the dynamics here?
Just don't give it to one city council person. Just
Yeah.
don't give it to a constituent. Email the whole entire city council as a whole.
Okay. Yeah, and shame on us, we assumed.
And between commissioners, staff, and David, I mean, there's a number of people who could potentially contact people at the city.
Okay, well.
I'm hearing going forward, if there's the limitations with Dylan, I mean, he can make that formal communication if necessary, like he did. And then the shortcoming would be like, I could follow up directly with council just to make you guys aware of it, so you could seek it out from the attorneys. If it wasn't shared, I'll follow up if there's ever a case like that again.
Well, you know, just for an example, talking to Abigail, one of our attorneys, as I stated earlier, there's some other emails that went out about impact fees. You know, are these council members aware of it? Absolutely not. They have no clue. No clue at all. And that's what we got to change. And how do you do that? How do you change that?
You have a new election.
Huh?
You have a new election. There, I said it.
So, okay, well,
It is what it is.
you guys can go get a glass of ice
Big
water.
mouth push.
No. All good. Tear it up.
Thanks, everybody, for calling in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
Yep.
I mean, really, it is what it is.
Yep. We got it.
How many years?
Thank you, Becky. Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome. Sorry there was no response, but I
Well,
was out of our hands.
anything else from me?
Nope.
I'm snagging Dylan.
Okay.
Could you get this to Carrie, our footage for 2025, the current footage?
Oh.
So
Oh, yeah.
Mike could sign it.
Julie,
Okay.
hold on.
I was hoping to catch her.
Does she
Sign
need it by a
Yes.
particular day or time?
No,
Okay.
just so she has it.
Okay, yeah.
Have a good weekend.
All right. See you, everybody.
Bye, Dylan.
See ya, Dylan.